What is up, guys? Here's my reflection for week 2 of Peaceful Warrior. Well, I guess I'll just jump right into the good stuff since you already know what's going on. Um, Monday was pretty good. Pretty much all the same stuff as last week. No super big changes to the regular routine. I didn't have any um, special experiences to really talk about. That changed on Tuesday, though, because for the first time, meditation was what I can consider successful. Um, I we were doing the 12-fold breathing with Reggie, the guy who's um, been narrating all of our guided meditations, um, and I don't know. Basically, what the point is, we put our focus in our lower abdomen, and we breathe from there. Um, so we're not breathing with our chest. We're breathing into our stomach and letting that expand, and then breathing hard out from that same place. Um, and as he puts it, expelling all of that stale air. Just complete purge of all of the air inside us. Um, and that translates to negative energy and all of that. And we do 12 of those, each increasing in intensity from the last, and around breath 8 or 9 of 12. Um, I experienced what I don't know, it's weird. Basically, I had a vision, I guess. That sounds sort of weird. It's not a memory because it doesn't relate to my life at all. Um, but I saw a father handing over his son to I don't know who. This father was obviously extremely torn from what I could tell, very emotional. It triggered a couple of emotions for me halfway through the meditation, um, and it was really intense. And this all happened during a long silence during the guided meditation where Reggie wasn't talking. We were all just doing our own thing. And I wasn't able to explore the experience that I'm talking about very much because as soon as it happened, Reggie's voice came back in on the guided meditation, and I don't think he was talking much louder than he had been for any of the rest of the recording, but it just seemed like out of nowhere he was just screaming at me, and it completely disrupted the experience I was having. And I remember being very angry about it. It didn't ruin the meditation. I was able to keep going and finish the 12 breaths, and I still had a fine experience with it. But what was happening got completely shattered, and I never really got it back, so that was kind of upsetting. But in hindsight, it's still cool to know that I've had an experience that is at least a little bit relatable to some of my um, classmates, which is pretty cool. Let's see. As for the self-defense stuff, everything's been pretty um, constant, I guess. Not too much to talk about there. We did water this week, which was really fun. Um, I think I fit in with that really well. Um, the mostly defensive and then you come back in, sort of like a wave that comes back and then crashes back in, suited me pretty well because it's a lot of step back first stuff, and then um, you come back with a counter, which I really enjoyed. I was sick on Thursday, and unfortunately, that was the day that we moved on from water and started the first day of fire, so I missed that. Um, which I'm a little bit upset about, but I'm looking forward to getting back up to speed um, this next week. because we didn't go to the dojo the next day on Friday. We don't go to the dojo on Fridays. Instead, we had an extended session with Mr. Cummings, who was teaching us a couple extra steps to the stuff that we've been going over with him. It's kind of hard to explain. And then I want to say it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. We started off the day with yoga normally, but we had a really short yoga session. And then instead of meditation, we did an expressionist dance, I guess is the best I can think to describe it, with which was guided by Mr. McGlawn. And that was an experience for me, for sure. Basically, what he told us to do was completely make up a dance. There was music playing in the background, but none of the dances really went with it. Like, it wasn't something that was to the beat or anything like that. It was completely self-created. And he wanted all of the moves that we came up with to somehow form or revolve around the letters of our name, just our first name. So my dance was pretty short, just I-A-N. But anyway, this one was a shot for me, if that makes any sense. It was we always talk about we've talked about, I guess I should say, kind of shots to the ego. And this one caught me completely off guard, because what happened was we all went up and we did our dance. And then we would do it with a partner, and we would get, or at least for me, I was doing mine, and Mr. McGlawn made a couple of critiques to my dance, which already I wasn't a huge fan of, because what I thought this was supposed to be was just a complete self-expression, and nothing was supposed to be corrected. So when he started critiquing things, I was a bit confused and caught off guard by that. And then I got partnered with Bijan, and we both had to do our dances at the same time. And I was doing mine, or at least I thought I was doing mine right. Obviously, McGlawn didn't think so. And he just kept stopping me, not even 3 seconds in, to tell me I was doing it wrong. And I'm like, doing what wrong? And he never really explained it too much. He just told me what to do and how to do it, and that whatever I was doing wasn't right, is basically what I got out of it at first. Finally, I struggled through that enough that he let us go. I did it right enough that it was done. And I got to sit down, and I was really angry because I thought that the entire thing was very hypocritical, because I was so caught up in the assumption that the whole point was just self-expression that I missed the real point of it, which was connecting with the other person that's dancing next to you. I was selfishly focusing on my dance so much that I wasn't connecting with Bijan's dance and going with the flow of his and kind of meeting halfway. Afterwards, when we were asked to describe how it went, I raised my hand and started to talk about how much I disliked it. And Squires basically cut me off, and he didn't let me finish that thought, which was a great move by him, because what it allowed him to do was make me stop so that he could explain what the real point was and open my eyes to what I had completely missed. And I don't know, it just hit me harder than I expected it to, because I wasn't, man, it's just hard to explain. Basically, it was a shot to the ego that I wasn't expecting. I'm so used to understanding what's happening that I took that for granted, and I was so convinced that I knew what was going on, and I was upset about it, that when I don't know, it was kind of like my eyes were closed, and Mr. Squire stopped me, opened my eyes, and immediately just shone a bright flashlight right in my face, like, you need to effing wake up, you missed it. So that hit me like a ton of bricks, and that's pretty much how my week ended. The rest of that day was fine, but the morning was rough because of that. I don't regret a thing because I learned a lot from it still. So that's week 2 for me. Looking forward to all to come, and we'll catch you next weekend.